Hello, math humans. We're going to do 5.2 today. Today we're going to talk about simple interest. So our objectives are that we're going to manage simple interest. So we've talked about this before, but simple interest typically is going to be things on what are called your big ticket items. So maybe that is a car, a boat, a house, a college loan. Okay, so those would be things that are called big ticket items because they cost a lot of money. Okay, the formula is F is equal to P times 1 plus R times T, where F is going to stand for the future value of your money. P is going to be your principal, which means that is your initial either investment or it is your initial cost. Okay. The R is going to be the annual percentage rate, so annual percentage rate, and it's always going to be a decimal. And then T, of course, is equal to time, and it's going to be in years. Okay, so there is our handy-dandy formula. So we're going to do a couple of examples where we work through some simple interest problems. So the first example that I have for us is Sue is going to borrow $2,000 at 5% annual simple interest, or her annual percentage rate, from her bank. How much does she owe after 5 years? So I'm going to use our formula. F is equal to P times 1 plus R times T. Remember that F is the future value. Her initial amount of money is $2,000. Here's the 1 plus her interest rate is 5%, so 0.05. And then she's going to borrow the money for 5 years. Okay. When I put this into my calculator, I do it all in one fell swoop so that the calculator can carry all of those decimals. So I'm going to do 2,000 times 1 plus 0.05 times 5, and then I get that it's $2,500. Okay, so F of 5 means that the future value of her money in 5 years is going to be equal to, remember, you have to include your units, which are dollars, $2,500. So that was pretty easy, nothing too scary. Okay, for our second example, Chad is going to take out a student loan for $20,000 at 8% annual simple interest, or APR. Remember, that's what the APR is. How much will he owe in 4 years? So again, we're going to use our handy-dandy formula for simple interest that says F is equal to P times 1 plus R times T. The amount of money that he borrowed was $20,000. Here's the 1 plus at 8%, so 0.08. And then how much will he owe in 4 years? So he is borrowing somebody else's money for 4 years. And when you do this in your calculator, you're going to get that F of 4 is equal to $26,400. So notice that he borrowed initially $20,000, but in 4 years he owes $26,400. So the interest that was paid is going to be the final amount minus the amount that he initially borrowed, and it's going to be that the interest is $6,400. So you always have to pay for the privilege of using somebody else's money for a period of time. Okay. Example number 3. Now Ben wants to pay cash for a used car. So he has $3,000, but he wants to spend $3,500. So he's going to invest his $3,000 into a savings account that earns $6,000 annual simple interest. How long is it going to take him to reach his goal? So in this case, Ben wants to save money before he buys his car. So we're going to do F is equal to P times 1 plus R times T. He's going to take his initial amount of money, $3,000. He's going to borrow it at 6%, and we don't know T. So we're going to put the T there, and then he wants it to grow to $3,500. So the first thing that we're going to do is divide both sides of the equation by the 3,000. So these two cancel. Those zeros cancel. And so I get 1 plus 0.06 times T is equal to 35 over 30. Now I'm going to subtract 1. Okay? And at this point, I'm not going to push buttons on my calculator. I'm going to wait until I'm done at the very end. So now I'm going to manage the 0.06. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 0.06. So I'm going to get time is equal to 35 over 30 minus 1, and then I'm going to divide that number by 0.06. So if I do that in my calculator, and it's nice when you can do it all in one fell swoop, so I'm going to put the numerator in parentheses, and I'm going to do 35 divided by 30 minus 1 divided by 0.06, and then I get that it's going to be 2.778 years, and then I'm going to write my solution, so 2.778 years. It's okay to have a decimal of a year because that just means that it is part of that year. So it's going to take 2.778 years to save up to $3,500. So he has to be patient for 2.78 years while he saves the money, and then he doesn't have to pay interest because he borrowed money. All right, one last example. In this one, Mandy wants to buy a used car for $10,000. She's going to finance it for 5 years. This is the typical amount of time that you finance a car, and then she's going to finance it at a 3% annual percentage rate. What are her monthly payments? So the first thing that we need to do is figure out what the future value of her money is going to be. So she's going to invest, or she's going to borrow, $10,000, and she's going to invest it at 0.03 for 5 years. Well, if I do that math in my handy-dandy calculator, I'm going to get 11,500. So that's going to be the future value of the loan after 5 years. So notice that she wanted to buy a car for $10,000. By financing it for 5 years, it's going to cost her $11,500. Okay? So now I'm going to take the future value. So I'm going to take the $11,500, and I'm going to divide it by 5 years. So I'm going to divide it by 5 years, and there are 12 months per year. So my years cancels. So this is going to be 11,500 divided by 60. 11,500 divided by 60, and we get that it's going to cost her monthly payment is going to be $191.67. So I'm going to write to report monthly THLY payment is going to equal $191.67. So if you go to buy a car and you go into a dealership, you can easily figure out what your monthly payment is going to be. All right, my dears, first time I bought a car, my dad taught me the same thing, and I went in and was able to negotiate, and because I knew how to calculate my monthly payment. All right, that's it for today. I will see you soon.